KWT slaying.
Salama family, salama. How y'all doing today? Hope you're blessed and highly favored. So I'm gonna put the link out there because I want to get some input on your view on some of this, and you know, what are you hearing in the state that you're in, and the localities where you reside. So, and I'm talking about the coming eclipse. Now, for me, I don't try to speculate on the signs of the heavens so much as what we see happening. Excuse me for a second. Yeah, I don't try to speculate so much on the signs in the heavens. And they're very interesting. I mean, the whole idea, the elf and the tav and the 400, and, it's representing the number 400, stuff like that. It's real interesting. But the problem I have is we don't know, right? And people can manipulate things, and they can manipulate supposed signs, and because the whole thing about the X and the totality, and the alpha and omega and all that stuff, it can be manipulated. I'm not saying it is. And the whole idea of the 3 days of darkness, I'm not saying it's not possible. I think it is possible. But I can only for myself come to it from the viewpoint of the hard evidence, right? What they're saying, what they're not saying. And where you at, Sister Betty? Come on back. But what they're saying and what they're not saying, right? So understand this, that my position isn't to do away with anything or people's understanding of the prophetic, but I'm covering it from the conspiracy side. Hey, Sister Betty, how you doing?
Shalom, Minister Jacoba. I'm doing good. How are you and the family?
Doing good, doing good.
All right. Sounds good. I made sure I got on early today.
Glad you're here.
Told you.
I'm gonna show some videos. I'm gonna get your input, and whoever else drops in, we'll get some input, and let me know what y'all hearing, where you're at, because in my opinion, something is going on now. What's gonna happen and what the purpose is, I don't know. All right, so let me share this video.
We are 2 months away from a very rare, extraordinary event.
Yeah, North Texas will be one of the best places in the world to see a total solar eclipse. And Shannon is here with a look of some of what we might see that day. I imagine everybody will be cranking Total Eclipse of the Heart, maybe.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so exciting. I mean, this kind of, I feel like it almost snuck up on us. So we've been talking about this for months, and all of a sudden I'm like, it's going to be
Here we go.
coming up. Make your plans now, though, because people are preparing. You'll want to order your protective glasses, figure out where you want to watch the total solar eclipse. Many events and hotels in our area are already sold out. And the moon will line up perfectly between the Earth and the sun on April 8th. It will last up to 4 minutes and 28 seconds in the path of total darkness. That's twice as long as the total solar eclipse in 2017. 2017. At this time, the path of totality is 115 miles wide and stretches from Mexico to Newfoundland. DFW is one of the largest metro areas with a perfect vantage point. Hundreds of thousands of people from around the world expected to be in the area to see it. Many places are planning large viewing events. Some hotels and campgrounds are already booked up. Now, school districts are also preparing. While some are making it part of the educational school day, others are just canceling school altogether. NSISD, for example, recently announced that it would close that day to allow students to experience the solar eclipse with their families. Ennis is directly on the center line and has a longer duration of totality than almost all of the surrounding areas. So city leaders there are expecting up to 200,000 visitors in town for the event. And Sulphur Springs is also near the center line, so the school district there also decided to close on April 8th. And it will be 294 years before we have another total solar eclipse here in North Texas. So yeah, this is going to be kind of a once in a lifetime chance for you to see it here at home, convenient, step outside wherever you are and check it out. I remember back in 2017 when we had that eclipse, and I went to a school where all the kids had their protective eyewear on, and it was fun.
Yeah.
So, as she stated, in the past, we've had solar eclipse. The kids were at school. The most they did was give you some eyeglasses, right? So you could look at the sun, right? I remember the same thing happening for me when I was in elementary school, and we went out in the yard, and I think back then I forgot if we had glasses or some kind of makeshift glasses or something. I don't even remember, but it doesn't make any sense that they're closing schools now. They're saying they're expecting 200,000 people, right? I'm like, okay, well, really, you could probably get that during, Mardi Gras in New Orleans or some big, parade in New York. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense that they're closing the schools down. And I have another video that I want to show, but let me get your input, Sister Betty, then Brother Eric.
Minister Cova, if you don't think, I know the majority of us Hebrews, we know that it's something. Our our DNA, our melanin is telling us, be aware, look for the signs. This is truly a sign of the Son of Yahuwah. It's a true sign. I don't care how nobody else feels. This is just my own opinion. We all have one. But they won't see this until another 290 years. This is a sign, but it's a sign to a people. It is a sign to a people. If you're not awakened to who you are and what is going on, because ever since 2019, this whole thing, this whole awakening and everything that they brought on, it is because of you, Israel. Because that old Pope, that old Roman Catholic Church and everything that branched off from it, they know. See, they really know. We only know the historical part, biblically and historically. We only know what they show us, what's in the vault under the Vatican. They know this sign. They are just preparing and not allowing the mainstream to be prepared. This is a sign, Jacoba. To me, it is.
So, Sister Betty, they say there's no 400-year prophecy, so I don't get it.
Well, we're done trying to get what they don't get. You already did that, hands down. And you know something else I noticed, Jacoba? I'm just gonna tell you this flat out. You're an outsider to what they call the other stream of Hebrew brothers that bring out the truth. You basically are an outsider. Why is that? You know why? Because some of the things that they're talking about now, you was already talking about it. So now it's like everybody is catching up. And I noticed that. I noticed that last night. You're an outsider.
Always have been, Sister Betty.
But you are. And you know what? That's a good thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't go along with the crowds.
See,
Never
you don't go
have.
along. I don't go around with the crowd. I don't have no friends. You know, I'm you know, it's just me, but you an outsider. And it's just because of the information that you already put out 7 or 8 years before. I just hit me this morning. But we as Hebrew Israelites, we know it's a 400 year. You know how we know? Because the Bible told us so. It tells us in Genesis 15 and 13. It tells us this. He says that you are a peculiar people. You are a people who he called unto himself. That is a sign for us. So we don't have to worry about if anybody else believes it's a sign, because we know that is a sign. It is a sign of the 400 years. It is. That's
All
my
right.
opinion.
Thank you, Sister Betty. Brother Eric.
Shalom, can you hear me?
Yeah, sound good.
Shalom, brother Teo.
What's up?
Shalom, brother Yakova. You're twins, so you're stuck together. So I call you. Forgive me, brother Yakova. Forgive me. But first and foremost, may the Most High bless you and the ministry, you and your family. All right. So listen, we've been hearing about this since birth. You understand?
Hmm.
We've been hearing about the last days, the last days, the last days. Our whole life we've been living for this day, for this time. And now all of a sudden we're ignoring the signs. Make it make sense. And the Most High has been ratcheting this thing up for a long time. See, myself always been into the supernatural, always believe, because from when I was young, I've experienced the supernatural. It just has as what I've come to know. So nobody's ever gonna convince me that the Lord ain't real, that Yeshua ain't real, that angels ain't real. And guess what? There's the flip side of that coin, that Satan ain't real, his minions ain't real, demons ain't real. Now the Most High said these things exist. Here man come along and say, those things, that's not true. That's fairy tale. That's fantasy. Who you gonna believe? You gonna believe the Most High, who knows the end from the beginning, the Ancient of Days, or you that's been on this earth for in the scheme of things, you don't even measure in time yet. When you think about it, your life doesn't even measure in time, but you know better than what the scriptures say.
So let me ask you a question, Brother Eric. So based upon these things we're seeing, what would you expect to happen next? Because, apparently there's no 400 years. Apparently America's not Babylon. America's not Egypt. It has nothing to do with the Bible prophecy. So, the Vatican is Babylon. So I guess there's no second nexus out of Egypt and all of that. So what's your thoughts? What's going to happen?
My
What you
thoughts
feel?
is,
Yeah.
my thoughts is what the scriptures say. Just look at how everything lines up. Everything is lining up just like the scriptures say. So why would anybody? I mean, it's almost like, oh Lord, what example I can give? Mm, I can't think of a good example right now, but I don't think it's wise to go against what the scriptures say, especially in these times.
Yeah, I agree
Because
with
if
that.
everything is lining up the way the scriptures say it is, then I think you need to get your house in order, stop whatever sin you in, stop lying, cheating, stealing, stop bearing false witness, get in line with these scriptures, the Lord's statutes and commandments. Forget those things which are behind, look to the things which are ahead. Understand that the joy of the Lord is our strength, and he's coming back to redeem us. You don't have to be worrying about these other people and these Gentiles and these heathens. Let them listen, they have their judgment. What Israel need to be focusing on is Israel.
All
Helping
right.
each other, taking care of each other, and doing what our Redeemer, our deliverer says do.
Yeah, and then people having all these dreams and everything too.
I
So
mean,
let go ahead. Go ahead.
let me just say this one last thing. If you read Joel 2, it talks about old men will dream dreams, women will and young men will see visions. It's happening. Everything is happening. What more evidence is needed? And I'm preaching to the choir. I'm talking about to the ones that are still on the fence, because those are our brothers and sisters. I don't care about the other nations. I'm not, listen, to each his own. You want to bring the Trojan horse in the village? You go ahead. You bring it in there, I'm gonna burn it down. I care about my people. I care about my family. That's who I care about. I don't have enough tears. I haven't cried enough tears for my ancestors that's been slaughtered by
Yep.
these Gentiles and by these heathens.
Yep.
I'm still crying tears for them. I don't have tears for the other nations.
Yep. And guess what? They still ain't repent.
Exactly. And you want to know what else? Far as they're concerned, they just get a pass.
Yeah.
They won't even apologize. They won't even recognize all the wickedness that they've done to us. So I got an idea, Israel. I got an idea. Those that want to bring in the other nations, fine. No problem. How about we don't be an infidel? What does the Bible talk about an infidel? If you don't take care of your home first, you're worse than an infidel. So how about we take care of Israel first? Let's make sure
I'm
every
100
Israelite
with
is
that.
being taken care of on a consistent basis.
Yep.
Let's do that first. And after everybody on Israel's side is taken care of, you want to bring the other nations in? Fine, you have at it. I'm not sitting with them. I don't trust them. But if that's how you want to do it, fine. But let's take care of each other first. And that's all I got. I done talk.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you know, for me, sometimes it's a complex situation because you know the Most High wants you to preach the gospel, the good news, you know, of the kingdom and salvation, right, to the world, right, Jew and Gentile, but at the same time, right, to the Jew first. That's how I focus, right, my people first. And if anybody got a problem with that, that's their problem. It's not mine. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move on to the next video. Then when I come back, I'm gonna come to you, Pierre.
All those in favor? Passes unanimously.
A month away from the April 8th solar eclipse, Travis County issues a disaster declaration. Officials expect to see big crowds, traffic, and a strain on first responders, hospitals, and roads.
That's what we're trying to put resources in place for, to direct traffic, extra law enforcement on the streets out in those areas, extra signage, working with Waze and Google to try to pre-identify and map routes that people can take safely into and out of the area.
Private property owners in unincorporated areas are required to let the county know if they plan to host a gathering with more than 50 people. That's so first responders can prepare accordingly.
We're making the declaration today. It's going to be in effect until the 8th because we're requiring that registration and those other measures until the 8th. The court ratifying that today will keep it into effect.
Del Valley ISD announcing Friday they're canceling classes on April 8th, joining these districts that will close that day. Other districts like Austin ISD are using the day as an educational event. The county says there are no plans to close roads. Some parks require reservations and many are already filled up.
We want to make sure, even when we were talking specifically around potential challenge points going into and out of the parks, the goal is going to be to keep the traffic moving as free flow as possible.
Hays County is closing their county offices that day, except for public safety ones. No matter where you are, leaders say avoid non-urgent appointments that day. Stock up on groceries and gas beforehand, and download the What 3 Words app to make it easier for first responders to find you.
We expect to have a nice, perfect day with a nice, perfect crowd, and but we're going to be ready if it doesn't turn out that way.
Now, somebody make it make sense to me. An emergency declaration for what? An eclipse? Right? I mean, what's the point of this? And why tell us to have, you know, some people say 2 weeks of foods and gas and all this stuff. Some people say 3 days. Pierre, what's your thoughts on this?
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. Hey, I wanted to say I love your show, man. I listen to it on a regular basis. I've been following everything you said. You've been spot on. I wanted to say that brother that spoke right before me sound like, I forget the actor's name, but he sounded like Antoine Fisher. He just came off and he sounded that way. But listen, I will say your question kind of was a segue to something I wanted to say. The Most High is going to take care of us regardless. He's been taking care of us our whole existence, and He's been preparing us for this moment. Because I want to point to a specific thing. During the time, you've heard of gentrification, right? And all of the blacks, all of our Judah, all of our people have been, crying about gentrification, and I never concerned myself with it, because in my opinion, he's just putting us back in a state where we were a better people, and a people that had more. We focused on him versus being in the city centers where we started to worship a god of materialism. And I've never cared about gentrification, because prior to the Great Migration, us moving to all of these northern cities, following the industries and things of that nature, we were a people that were God fearing. We were self sufficient. We didn't have as many illnesses that we have now. We grew our food. We worked the land. We had trade. We had a more religious, I don't want to say religious, but a more spiritual walking with the Most High. So for me, gentrification, and I know ties in that
You breaking up here. You're breaking up. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Pierre. Yeah, we hear you now.
Can you hear me? Can
Yeah,
you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. Yeah. Hello?
Hello? Okay.
Can you hear me?
What did you hear? Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
You still a little, yeah, but you still a little scratchy though. But I could hear you.
Yeah. Okay. What did you hear last?
I don't even remember because it started scratching. I couldn't make out what you were saying. So
Okay. I was saying that, listen, the Most High has prepared us for this very moment. I know what I was saying is about gentrification, and I know it's kind of
we talked that,
a twist off of that. We were a better people when we were out in the rural area. We grew our own food. We were more closely knit. We took care of one another. Our health, we didn't have the cancers and the things that we have following the great migration to these city centers up in the Northeast, California, different places like that. We weren't chasing idol gods. This materialism and money has become our god. And so for me, gentrification, actually, it's to me, it's a good thing, because they're the ones that's going to be here when those bombs start raining down on these city centers, not us.
yeah. All right. So I want to read this article. Yeah. Okay. I want to read this article because some things just don't make sense when you put the pieces together. And as I said, there's a lot of biblical and supernatural type comparisons that can be made. But as I mentioned earlier, it's sort of hard for me to differentiate between what's a biblical sign and what's not. All right, so let's look at this. Hundreds of schools impacted total solar eclipse cancel classes over safety concerns. The kids will be over the moon. Hundreds of school districts from Maine to Texas that will experience near total darkness. Now, pay attention to that. Near total darkness. I've never seen near total darkness ever in my life. I think maybe I've been through like maybe 3 or 4 eclipses, maybe, right? Something like that. So, but near total darkness during the next month's total solar eclipse will shut down or even end classes early out of an abundance of caution. So, near total darkness, a month's total solar eclipse will shut down. Well, I mean, has an eclipse ever shut anything down? Do y'all know of any eclipse that shut anything down? This makes no sense to me. Panel,
No,
anybody?
No, you come. I agree. This is a first, and it's scaring them because they know that this is the Most High's hand. They know this, and that's why they're acting the way they're acting. That's the reason why, as if uh, 3 days or 2 weeks worth of food and water is going to you're gonna outweight the Most High. Are they insane? As if that's going to do the trick for them, So they know that this is something that they've never seen. It's scaring them as much as we know that this is the Most High's doing.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
must say, if you don't mind, I don't mean to cut you off. This is not gloom and doom for us, Israel. Well, this is our time to rejoice. We've been waiting for this.
Yep.
We've been wait. Oh my gosh, we've been. I want everybody, when you get a chance, I want you to read Isaiah 25:9. Read that script. Read that verse. We've been waiting for this. This is not our a heartbreak. This is not heartache. This is not a time to despair. No, we should be high-fiving each other and saying it's our time. It's our time. It's our time.
You have any comments, Sister Betty?
Yacoba, now all of us have been to school. You know, why are you shutting down school? If it's only gonna last roughly a little under 4 minutes, you mean tell me the day just isn't gonna go on if we stuck in? What about when there's a hurricane or a storm? You just go in and you shut in. They don't cancel school. And a hurricane lasts, we're in Florida, so we know hurricanes can last and you're locked down in home or at school. You don't shut it completely down for under 5 minutes. Don't you know this is a sign? Like I said before, them heathens, they know what you have done to the least of them, it's going to be done to you. It's going to be done to them, and they know it. Why would we need 2 weeks of food for under 5 minutes of darkness if they don't know something? And you got to be silly. You got to be the silliest rabbit to actually believe that they don't already know what this sign means. We didn't just figure it out. They already know what this sign is. You get gas, get food, lock up in the house, cancel school, cancel government. Come on now. You know that this is more behind this X that's coming across Texas.
Hey,
It's more.
I didn't mean to cut you off as well, sis. Listen, they're doing they're saying and doing everything except for put the lamb's blood across your doorpost.
Yeah, that's true. And here's the other thing, since you brought that up, and I brought this up in my other show, 3 Days of Darkness. This article, it says on April 8th day will turn into night for a once in a lifetime eclipse. Although it is still more than a month away, a word of caution is being issued now by Lorain County Emergency Management. Stock up on 3 days worth of food. Now, people been talking about the 3 days of darkness, right? And, some say 2 weeks, some say 3 days. Let me get your thoughts, Brother Doug. What's your thoughts on it? You have to unmute yourself. All right. I guess Brother Doug must have stepped away for a bit. All right. So let me share.
No, I'm here. I am so sorry, brother. I was just I was chatting. Well, listen. I don't know what they're doing. I'm not worried. I'm not concerned. First, thank you for letting me on. I've been on a minute, but I'm not concerned about what's going on per se. I don't know if the eclipse means anything. Who knows? But I do know what they're doing. They're closing schools. They seem panicked. We also
Yeah.
know how they roll. They roll by not informing the public. The same tactics that are used in the countries that they helped establish, like Israel, that knew there was going to be an October 7th massacre but said nothing. Why are they telling people to prepare? I don't know. Let them prepare. They have much to fear, don't they? They have much to fear. They've laid a foundation that calls for recompense, and they look for payback in every dark corner. And there's going to be a few dark corners coming up here in April. And so I let them prepare and let them panic, and we watch them as such. But I won't. Just going back to what I heard Brother Pierre say, and there's never been a time we've been doing well here, ever, never. I don't care. The best that we've ever done here is the worst we could do ever anywhere. I'll tell you that right now. I don't care who you are, where you are, if you're a Negro in this country. Every stat is against you. Everything they can do to prevent your rise is in play all the time, every day, always. So I disagree with that. There's never been a good time for Negroes in this country. Also, pay attention to what they're doing. They're cutting down these schools. They're telling you to stock up. They're telling you all these things. I like the analogy of the blood painted on the door sides. I agree with that. It's even more reason for us to look for every opportunity when there is one. The door opens, that we go through it and out of this country, because X it might mark the spot. Might be the end of America, and where you are and your attitude at the time of its going down might determine what happens to you afterward. That's all I got.
So here's the thing. I'm gonna show this other video because I have another theory. I have several theories of what may be going on, but I do believe something funny is happening. But let me share this.
This is getting wild. The National Guard is going to be here now for the solar eclipse. This article today was released in an Oklahoma newspaper saying that they will have guardsmen present in McCurtain County for the solar eclipse. But things get much weirder. The 22 members of an elite chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear unit will be housed in Broken Bow, in addition to 110 to 150 Oklahoma Highway Patrol troopers. They're also urging residents to stock up with 1 to 2 weeks of food in advance of the event and to have full fuel tanks. They're also saying that it's likely that communication facilities could be overloaded, possibly making it difficult to make cell phone calls. Similar warnings are going out in different states, including Noblesville Fire Department in Texas. And apparently schools are canceled this day, and people are going on Twitter writing statements like this: something strange is definitely happening. My kids in 3 different schools all got notices that school will be closed that day. What do you know about this solar eclipse? As always, let me know what you think.
So, we have all of this happening, and with this whole solar eclipse thing. Now, here's another article. All right, 2024 solar eclipse. This is for Oklahoma. Now, as you saw, the National Guard, which is the biological, nuclear, and chemical division of the National Guard, is in Oklahoma. And after I read this article, I'm gonna tell you my other theory. I have 2 theories that may be happening. All right, statewide eclipse preparation. Multiple state, county, and city agencies have been preparing for months for the 2024 eclipse event on April 8, 2024. Parts of southeastern Oklahoma will experience a total solar eclipse. State and local authorities are working together to prepare for the event and to keep both visitors and residents safe. All right. So Oklahoma Department of Transportation. Let's see, where was that? Let me go down. Neighboring states. All right. Statewide eclipse preparedness. Multiple state, county, and city agencies have been preparing for months for the 2024 eclipse event. Parts of southeastern Oklahoma will experience a total solar eclipse. Now, we saw the other one that said near total. They say total, right? What does that mean? Does it just cover up the sun completely? Now, some say it's going to go dark. I'm like, okay, well, what does that mean, right? Is are we going to be in the 3 days of darkness? That's why we need 3 days of food. I don't know. But anyway, Oklahoma is expected to receive an influx of anywhere from 17,000 to 66,000 visitors to watch the solar eclipse. That's nothing. That's nothing. I mean, you don't need to have all of this preparation and National Guard and all this stuff. So anyway, according to a study conducted by the GreatAmericanEclipse.com, visitors will likely watch the eclipse within the path of totality, in which the moon will completely block out the sun. This stretches across southeastern Oklahoma. The path of totality will completely cover McCurtain County and partially cover Choctaw, Bryan, Atoka, Pushmataka. I've never heard of some of these places. Latimer and LaFleur counties. The town with the longest total eclipse viewing time would be Schultz, Oklahoma, approximately 3 miles east of Idabel, with 4 minutes and 19 seconds of viewing time. So they're going through all of this, shutting down schools, having National Guards. We got to have 3 days or more worth of food. And gas up our cars for what, 4.5 minutes at the most of a totality. The large influx of visitors to southeastern Oklahoma could overwhelm and back up the area's road system. The major highways in the area are US 70, US 259, and State Highway. All right. So residents and visitors to the area should expect increased tourists and visitors, increased traffic, maximum capacity in hotels, cabins, campgrounds. Really? Do y'all know of anybody who's planning to go? And give me a one if you know of a whole bunch of people planning to go on vacation and visit these places to see the 4.5 minutes of an eclipse. Please let me know. One, if you know people doing it. Two, if you don't. All right. Decreased quality of cellular service, delays in supply chain deliveries, increased emergency response time. Now, this is interesting here. Remember, we had the so-called, hackers and the mobile phone systems went down. Maybe that was a test for this time, right? Here are some ways to plan ahead. Schedule errands and appointments 2 or 3 days before the eclipse. Fill up gas tanks. Buy and stock up on groceries for what? 4.5 minutes of totality? Have several forms of communication, not only cellular, but sure to check the weather. If traveling to the areas, arrive early, stay put, leave late. Okay, safety tips. Now, notice this. Don't stop along the roadways or the shoulders of roadways. Exit the roadway to view or photograph the event. Don't take photographs while driving. Turn your headlights on. Watch out for pedestrians. Don't pick up hitchhikers. Prepare for congestion on the day before, day of, day after eclipse. Okay. State and local authorities are working together to prepare for the event and to keep both visitors and residents safe. The Oklahoma Highway Patrol will have extra troopers. Now, why do they need extra troopers for something that's going to be 4.5 minutes in the southeastern part of the state before, during, and after the eclipse event? All right. So here's what I think is happening. 2 things. My first theory would be okay with the one that everybody else has about, well, really I have 3 theories, but the first theory would be the one everyone else had about the 3 days of darkness. I think that's a possibility. Okay, it's a possibility. Number 2, right? Number 2, some kind of nuclear biological event is going to kick off, right? Because that's why we have National Guards, right, in Oklahoma, right, for this whole 4.5 minute event that's supposed to happen. Now, think of this for a second. So you have the National Guard that's going to be in Oklahoma, and they're ready for the so-called eclipse, right? And we have Texas and all these areas, right, shutting down schools, telling people to prepare, having food and water and gassed up. Now, so this is one of my theories, of course, that there's going to be some kind of biological nuclear event. Now, let's assume that's going to happen, right? So this is so really I could say it's 2 theories, but this part of the theory ties to the last. Right. So the theory is that there's a biological nuclear event that's going to happen, or some type of event, maybe under the cover of the 3 days of darkness or the eclipse or whatever's going to happen. And just this is how I see them working. So at first, my initial theory was that, you're not going to position the National Guard in the state that's going to be affected. So to me, okay, we see that Texas is the target, right? And so Oklahoma is right next door. So if something were to happen here in Texas, you have the biological, nuclear, chemical National Guards in place for an emergency situation that may occur in Texas. Because right now, that's what it looks like to me, Texas. All right. So they're preparing for this particular biological event that or nuclear event that could happen in Texas. All right. That's one thing. The other thing is this. This is what I think also could happen. Whatever this event is, right? Whether it's a biological event or a meteor or nuclear or whatever, and there's possibilities of all of these things. They're not preparing so much for Texas to be hit, right? This is my other theory. But they're preparing for Texas and Oklahoma and these people that are that's caught up in the totality to be refuge for people in other states. Think of this for a second. I'll be thinking about stuff, right? It's just my theory, I'm just throwing it out. So let's say something happened on the East Coast, right? And, let's say other states. Everybody's going to be heading then inwards. So this whole need to have troopers, extra troopers, have the National Guard and all this stuff, have the schools shut down, people having food, right? And they're talking about, all the hotels being filled and stuff. Maybe what's going to happen is that people leaving other states because of this biological, nuclear, or maybe, a celestial event, whatever it is, going to be on the highways. So they're getting prepared, sort of like what happened with Katrina, right? Everybody who was, running away from Katrina, the roads were backed up and all these things. They came all the way to the other states, right? And they came to Texas and all these other things. So maybe there's going to be a huge migration effort, right, inwards towards Texas, toward Oklahoma, because of this biological event or whatever it is, right? Biological, nuclear, or celestial, whatever, some major event. And it's going to drive people inwards to Texas, which is why they're saying the hotels are going to be full, right? What do you all think of that? What these scenarios? I mean, obviously, it appears to me something is happening. Something's going to happen. And let me show this video before I get to y'all answer that, right? Because this one is real short. So all of this stuff is just strange, but let's play that.
All right, guys, I'm 44 years old. Never in my life when I grew up did I hear about a upside down smiley face crescent moon. We always learned about a side facing crescent moon. Kids never grew a upside down smiley face for their moon. What is going on here? When did this start happening?
All right, so upside down smiley face, the Anunnaki, right? So I don't know what this means. Apparently, people say they've been seeing this upside down crescent, right? If y'all seen this, if the people in the chat, if y'all seen this, let me know if y'all seen this, where you're at. But panel, what do you think of all of this? What do you think? What's your theory on what's happening? Because, or do you think anything's happening? Maybe we're not, maybe we're concerned about nothing.
Well, I know they're scared of the dark. I know that because they sure are preparing. They hear about dark coming and they are ready to run for the hills. Any change beyond the norm terrifies them. And if something specifically coming, I think as we headlong into the future, a lot of things are being revealed. They're seeing things. It seems like they might be in touch with some things that might give them a foreboding. I mean, they're talking about pandemics. They're talking about, events on the planet, 2,000 earthquakes. But I don't think there's any event. I don't think there's anything they can do to plan for what's coming, whatever it is. I really think it's going to be on the scope of their planning. But these folks, anybody who's been in the military knows these folks plan for every single incident they are. And the stronger you see them plan, the more likely something might happen. That's where I see it going. I don't know about everybody else.
Anyone else want to comment on it? All right. So let's look at this because here's the other thing that may be occurring, right? Russian submarines off U.S. East Coast spark Cold War comparisons. The growing presence of Russian submarines off the coast of the United States has sparked Cold War comparisons from military observers and a retired NATO admiral. The Russian military has undergone a sweeping modernization drive after it was forced to abandon many new ships following the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. The Russian Navy now commands one of the most diverse submarine fleets in the world with an estimated 58 vessels. Some of them are capable of carrying ballistic missiles with nuclear warheads, which Moscow considers key to its strategic deterrent. Russian President Putin has been set on expanding Russia's underwater capabilities. Over the past several years, Moscow has been producing a series of submarines that have the capability to reach most critical targets in the U.S. and continental Europe. The Russian leader said in December his country will be building more nuclear-powered subs that will ensure Russia's security for decades to come. Meanwhile, a Kremlin document signed by Putin, which lays out the Russian Navy's improved capabilities, its evolving strategic operational role, and its future ambition states the nation must possess powerful, balanced fleets in all strategic areas by 2030. Amid the arms reforms, there have been deployments of Russian submarines that mirror Soviet-style submarine deployments in the Cold War. Michael Peterson, director of the Russian Maritime Studies Institute at the U.S. Naval War College, which conducts research on Russian military and economic issues linked to the world's oceans, told Newsweek that there are indications that nuclear-powered submarines have been deploying off the coast of the United States and into the Mediterranean and elsewhere along European periphery. They mirror Soviet-style submarine deployments in the Cold War, said Peterson, who is also a professor. So we have these nuclear subs, in our waters. And if, let's assume something happens, are they planning it? Because there's been a lot of rhetoric going back and forth between the U.S. and Russia, and Putin saying, hey, if we got to handle NATO, we got our strategic nuclear weapons and stuff like that. So I guess this is one of the things that could be happening as well, right? So what do you all think? Panel, anybody?
I think Russia and China are plotting to destroy the United States or attack them. I think that I think Russia might start it and China might finish it. I think they've been plotting. This eclipse aside. I mean, I know that's what this is about, but they might see it an advantaged time when the United States is off their square. They're looking at things in the sky. What a better time than to put a nuke to play or an attack. They're de-dollarizing the globe. They're playing hardball with these useless, lazy, entitled Americans that complain about what they don't have juxtaposed to what they don't allow others to have. So they could very well be trying to excise the United States while they move toward targets of their own interests.
What about you, Sister Betty?
Minister Jehovah, again, it seems like they are planning not only for the eclipse, but they're planning for something to happen during the eclipse. Yeah. Or is our own government planning to do something during the eclipse? They'll do something and try to blame it on somebody else easily.
Exactly.
Like they blew up the pipeline and tried to blame it on somebody else and then come back to find out it was America that did it. I mean, can you put anything past the beast system? Anything? These people are killed. Not people, so they're not people. These lizards would do evil things to their own to get to the original, to get to their goal. To make whatever happen. They don't mind. It's just like that train derailment that happened in Palestine, Ohio. They don't mind taking out some of their own and poisoning their own to get what they want. Remember, they're the ones that kill people to get what they want. They don't care who it is, young, old, white, black. They don't care. And it just sounds like these different videos that you're showing, They know the eclipse is going to happen, but it sounds like they're planning something in the midst of the eclipse, and they're canceling school and get food and all of that. They're planning something. You're right, Jacoba. They are planning something big for April the 8th.
Yeah, and here's the other theory I have of something that may be happening. All right, so they say 2029. Now, a lot of times the dates don't mean anything. And so we could be having an asteroid heading this way, something like that, that they're preparing for. And notice it was in April, right? So, we don't know if the year is correct or not. They do that a lot as well. And also, we know from the scriptures there's wormwood. Wormwood's supposed to come and destroy, a lot of people and, stuff like that. So we don't know, but anything's possible. And the other thing is, I'm gonna just add this to the discussion. So I posted this on tailministry.com. Bernie Sanders pushes bill to establish a 4-day work week. Now, if any of you all saw the video, and it talked about the Creative Society, and that's one of the pillars, part of the pillars that the Creative Society wanted to create, which was a 4-day work week. And then we have the whole idea of the red heifer, right? So supposedly them folks in the Middle East talking about doing that. So what if they're planning on doing that for this Passover or something like that to dedicate the temple? And so then things going to kick off that way. We don't know. But I find all of this suspicious because based upon a scenario that I think is going to happen, we're going to end up in a global world government run by religion. That's what I think, right? You're going to have the UN that's going to be the arbitrator between the nations, but it's all going to be this whole Ewok moment, Kumbaya moment, we are the world moment after some major catastrophe. Now, all these things are happening, and it just seems strange of the things that they want us to do to prepare for an eclipse that they've never asked for before. Talking about total darkness. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but I think something happening. And like I mentioned in previous shows, I told you all, I said something's coming. I told y'all, I said, I sense it in my spirit. And as I mentioned to the Gentiles, I said, it's over for y'all. I mean, no matter how you see it, it's over. Y'all under judgment. There's no turning back, right? And so, a lot of people, don't like that. But, I mean, it is what it is. And then we have the Deagle report, of course, 2025, massive, deleted people, right? And maybe that was just part of it. The whole lollipop situation was part of it. But, maybe this whole war is part of it. Maybe an asteroid is part of it. Maybe also, because here the other thing they've done, which I didn't talk about, is, they're testing again at the airports for certain diseases and sicknesses, right? I think it's Chicago and maybe in New York. They're testing for stuff now again, right? So we don't know. Is something may kick off, but obviously there's something happening beyond just the eclipse. Now, you know, back to the whole idea, and I read this before, and we read it 100 times, and in my spirit, I feel, and I've always felt that things are close, and so maybe it is the 3 days of darkness, and maybe it is tied to our Exodus, right? Arise and shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. See, darkness covers the earth, and thick darkness is over the people, but Yahuwah rises upon you, and his glory appears over you. So if we're at that time of the second Exodus, right, then there's going to be some type of darkness, and people are going to see that we have light in our houses, right? Because we know with the first, darkness, 3 days of darkness, nobody had light except for Israel. Israel had light in their homes, but the Egyptians didn't. So maybe it's that, and maybe they're prepared for that, and maybe they know this, but it seems to me that something is amiss, something unique is happening. And so I'm gonna get final comments from the panel. Brother Doug, final comment.
Well, I kind of agree that something is converging along the lines of April 8th. There is another comet that's supposed to be visible that occurs every 71 years on that day as well. Another thing we might consider as well. I think they're futuring what might occur if Trump becomes the presumptive nominee somewhere around April. If he goes to this, that'll be locked into a course of action, and who knows what they've calculated, whether or not is civil war, civil unrest a viable option as opposed to simply clamping down on freedoms due to some pumped up event. And again, you're right. It could happen real fast. It could happen so fast. All these circumstances, we don't know what's going on in the background. Why? They keep Negroes out of the loop. Everything that they do without our consent. So whatever they do, they don't consult us.
Yeah.
They're not folding us into any briefs. And so but we know that our Father our power is in absolute control. So whatever their machinations, it'll only come to fulfill the will of God. But I just hope nobody panics. Don't look up. Don't take no candy from strangers. That's what you do. All right, man.
All right, thank you, Brother Doug. Mr. Petty, final comment.
Jacob, I don't know if you ever heard of this Catholic woman. Her name was Anna Maria.
Yeah, she prophesied the 3 days of darkness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they made her out of an idol. They just preserved her body. They still have her body in a glass case where they actually go and worship this dead witch's body. She was a mystic. She was a mystic. She could read the hearts. Now, if you go and read up on that 3 day of darkness that she prophesied about, and she just got it out of the book of Exodus, this is what these Catholics and all these other religions, they believed, that one of these popes are gonna be deified, and after these 3 days of darkness. That's why I know, Jacoba, after I went and studied about her and her prediction of the 3 days of darkness, and all she's doing is worshiping and getting her information from demons, basically. And these Catholics, they idolize this witch. This is how deep this 3 days of darkness is. The wicked are really, really thinking that their pope is going to be some type of Messiah. So they really know what is going on. They're not going on the book of Exodus. They're pretty much going on what this sorceress say, Anna Marie Taglia, Taigi. That's what they're going on. So we really have to go read up on it, because they have something planned. They have something planned. The red heifer left when we left. And anything that no, oh, no, never mind. Those heathens, anything that them heathen lizards are planning, Jacoba, they don't even believe in the Hamashiach anyway. They say he should be burning and boiling in excrement. That's what those three EW people say.
Yeah, and they also say we black folks are not going to be a part of
The
their
world to
kingdom to
come.
come. Yeah.
So don't we know that this is a sign? And I'm just thanking the Most High Yahuwah that you're talking about, and the other channels are talking about it, trying to wake up us Hebrew Israelites, us. I'm gonna call us pure bloods. See, we're the pure bloods. They're the tainted blood. We're the pure blood. Look, these people want our blood. Those lizards want our blood. They want our melanin. They want to be us. They want our heritage. They want to be everything that we are. They The plan is for us. I will always believe that the plan is for us. And I know that the Most High Yahuwah is covering those who are walking with him. But the ones who are not walking with him and praying to him and worshiping him and have walked outside of this world government, these religious functions, these holidays, the news channels that they put out, I don't know what to say for our people who are just stuck, getting ready for to celebrate Ashtar and eggs that are rolled around in red blood and hidden. Our people are a stuck, lost people. They probably getting ready to party on that day. They stuck and lost. I'm sorry. And I'm just praying somehow, some way that the Most High Yahuwah, you know, deliver our people, because we stuck and lost. We stuck and lost. That's all I have, Jacoba. I'm thankful that you came on today, because you really needed to do this show, at least to try to let them know, is something coming. Are you prepared?
Yeah,
Have you went out
exactly.
and got food or water or gas? At least get prepared, because they telling you they're doing something. Really, this was about you letting us know that they are telling us that they're doing something. This is
Yep.
what this is. I'm telling you, we're doing something. We're trying to warn you now. We're telling you to do, that it's something coming. But they know most of our people won't listen, and the majority of their people won't listen either. But like I said, I thank the Most High Yahuwah for this show that you did today, because all you're doing is telling our people that, listen, it is something already brewing. It is already happening. Whenever we find out, we know that it's already happening. They're already
Yeah.
planning for it.
Yep.
So,
All right. Thank you for coming on, Sister Betty. I really appreciate it.
all right, Brother Yukoba.
All right. And thank you, Pierre, for coming on. Thank you, Brother Doug and Brother Eric. Thank y'all for coming on. So we can look at the signs. The Bible says there were going to be signs, and these are signs. And in the heavens and on earth, distress of nations, seas and the waves, roaring with perplexity. And the Bible says that shall a nation be born in a day, right? We literally can be born in a day. And something's obviously amiss, right? Something's happening. It just doesn't make sense right now. Is it the 3 days of darkness? It could be. I don't know. It could be. It looked like it could be, because they're talking about near total darkness, and I'm like, okay, well, I've never seen that. But I've never seen that before. So if there is something that is near total darkness during this eclipse, then more than likely it is a type of 3 days of darkness. And if it is, then to me that's going to tie to Isaiah chapter 60, and darkness covers the earth, gross darkness to people, but God is going to be seen on us. Why? Because we're about to leave here. Ever since we've been teaching since way back 2016, we've been telling you after 2019 all hell gonna break loose. But we got a hashtag ain't no 400 years, right? Whole bunch of people teaching against us, telling us we're fearful. The Bible tells you you're gonna have to flee. People telling you you're fearful. People gaslighting you, right? Same thing. There's a lot of deception out there. You know, you got people saying Native American Indians and Mexicans are Israel. Make it make sense, right? Somebody make it make sense. There's a lot of lies, and a lot of people gonna be caught unawares because their heart is not right. You know, you didn't know the time of your visitation. How do you see all these things and not understand that something's amiss? And that's what I say is that at the very least, prepare, get some extra food, get some extra water, just like they told you. They're telling you that. They're telling you to gas up your car, right? You should do it, right? And if nothing happens, then fine, nothing happens. But obviously, we're in a time of change, right? We're in a time of change, and I expect something to happen. I don't know what's going to happen, you know, and there's some good points made about the elephant and tub and all that stuff. There's some good points made there, and there's some good points about where these things going. But for me, I don't hold too much about the path going through towns and cities or whatever called Nineveh or called little Egypt. I mean, all that is circumstantial, right? You have to guess on that. So that's why I say I don't really like delve in that. I mean, maybe it means something. I don't know. I do know though, they're telling me to gas up my car. They're telling me to get some extra food. They're telling me to get some water. They're positioning National Guard, biological, nuclear, chemical weapon section of the National Guard. I mean, they're doing that. They're the ones hiring extra state troopers, right? I'll look at those things and I say, okay, well, that don't look like it's for anything good. It doesn't look like, for people coming across the borders to come and look at, 4.5 minutes of darkness or eclipse. It doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make any sense. Shutting down the schools, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. And if anybody says, oh, y'all worried about nothing, okay, well, it still don't make sense, right? So to me, I'm like, okay, be prepared. Be prepared. Does it hurt to be prepared? Because something obviously going on now, I don't know what it is. Now, hopefully, I'm praying because I've been praying hard that it's the second Exodus. I've been praying hard about that. I know a lot of you have as well. Because as I mentioned before, unless the Most High come get us, we're screwed. I say it and I say it again. And a lot of people like to give me some heat. And guess what? If this isn't biblical prophecy happening, then okay, fine. Go on about your life. Continue doing what you do. But if it is, you need to be prepared. It's going to be a little rough, right? It ain't never easy. And whoever thought it was going to be easy, right? And, hey, maybe there'll be ships and airliners and all that stuff to bring us home. I don't know how it's going to play out. See, the details we don't have. The details we don't have. And so when we look at these things, we got to say, okay, this looks sort of suspicious. This looks curious. This looks like it could fit prophecy, And some people say, well, the Vatican is Babylon. Where if the Vatican is Babylon, then we have nothing to worry about, right? Because guess what? Then there's no second Exodus. Then we're stuck here in the land of our captivity. Then we're not going home. And guess what? We're going to continue as things have always continued. But if it is Babylon, if it is Egypt, then guess what? There's a second Exodus. If it is a type of Egypt, if it is a type of Babylon, it's time to go. If Second Ezra chapter 15 is happening, it's time to go, because this nation's under judgment. As they do this day to my chosen, what? The Most High gonna do what? To them. And what do we see? Them curses flipping. They're crying about not being able to afford apartments. They're crying about not being able to eat. They're crying about a lot of these things, right? But at the same time, we're getting hit, right? They're kicking us out of places we've been since we've been in this country. They're kicking some of our people out of, these places in Chicago and replacing them with migrants. They're kicking some of these people out in New York and giving away jobs. Tyson is going to hire 42,000 migrants. Okay, great for them. Not great for you, but great for them. But there's nothing to worry about. Don't worry about it, because Teo Ministry don't know what they're talking about. That's what y'all heard all these years, right? See, we told y'all all hell broke loose because you woke up. We told y'all that how many times? Because you woke up, all hell broke loose on this planet. You Gentiles think it's a coincidence that black folks woke up and then all of a sudden all hell broke loose? All of a sudden you got to take a lollipop? All of a sudden this person fighting with that person fighting with this person, this nation fighting with that nation? Does that not sound like Matthew chapter 24? I'm just saying. All coincidence. But you've been warned, you know. And a lot of people, hey, they come back later and say, hey, look at this prophecy. Hey, what do y'all think about these prophecies? After they didn't beat us up a few times when we told y'all about it before it happened. I'm just saying. See, you got to be careful because there are a lot of deceivers out there. And they're going to come in and they're going to, what does it say? It says truth goes through 3 stages, right? Truth goes through 3 stages. One is vehemently opposed. 2, it becomes sort of common. And 3, I think it is everyone act like it was always known and self-evident. Right? That's how it goes. So, I told you this is a truth ministry. So we definitely go through the phases of truth. That's how it is. And you're going to get beat up in the beginning. And then as things come to pass and it gets proven, because I told you, just sit back and relax. You'll see and find out who's telling the truth. Soon as it comes to pass, then everybody on board and say, yeah, we've been here the whole time. We've been telling you all about this. We knew it was going to happen all the time. See, let me do a teaching on it. Yeah, you weren't there in the beginning. You weren't there in the beginning when you could have got the heat with us, but that's just how it is. That's the nature of man, right? And that's the nature of Satan, because he's going to cause confusion. So once again, I want to thank y'all for coming on panel and thank y'all for listening. And if you like this teaching and this particular broadcast, give me a like, give me some thumbs up. You can share this video as well. You can also support us by becoming a patron. You can also support us by giving at Cash App, $TOTW7101. So fam, pray, fast, and be prepared. Something's up. Don't know exactly what, but obviously something up. So, and don't forget the Dry Bones Project.